So, have you ever really thought about what separates, a weekend volunteer from a pro political canvasser? It's a totally different world. We're talking about a game of metrics, of strategy, and honestly, some serious discipline. So, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and take a look inside a real professional campaign playbook. And right out of the gate, you see campaigns setting a really clear tone. For the professionals they bring on board, it's just not about the paycheck. It's mission driven. It's this core belief that talking to voters one-on-one is the absolute bedrock of democracy. It's all about making a real difference, one conversation at a time. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, let's kind of follow the journey of someone trying to get hired. We're going to look at how these campaigns actually find people, dig into the different specialized jobs they need to fill, and then see what it really takes to get out there in the field. Believe it or not, the 2026 election cycle is already gearing up, and campaigns are in full-on prep mode. And listen, they're not just looking for a warm body. No way. They need people who are self-starters, who can adapt on the fly, and who are just plain reliable and professional. The call is definitely out for folks who can jump into these fast-moving teams and just hit the ground running.
All right, let's bust a common myth right now. A lot of people think canvassing is just one thing, knocking on doors. But in a pro operation, not even close. It's actually a whole collection of super specialized roles, and each one needs its own unique skill set. So let's break down a few of the big ones.
Let's take petition gathering, for example. To most of us, it sounds simple. Just get some signatures on a piece of paper, right? But for a pro, the game is all about accuracy. It's about verifying every single person is eligible and following the legal rules to the letter. Because think about it, one bad signature, just one sloppy form, could literally get a candidate thrown off the ballot. The stakes they're incredibly high. And it's the exact same story with door-to-door outreach. Yeah, on the surface, it's about talking to voters, but the professional standard, it demands these really structured conversations. You've got strict message discipline, you can't just say whatever you want, and every single interaction is logged in real time. It's all about precise data collection. There is zero room for going off script. And then you've got GOTV, get out the vote. This isn't about changing minds anymore. It's all about execution. The whole focus is on turning people you already know are supporters into actual voters who show up. It is high pressure, it's deadline driven, and your success is measured by one thing and one thing only: how many people actually voted. So with all these different jobs, what is it? What's the secret sauce that separates a so-so canvasser from a seasoned pro that campaigns are literally desperate to hire? Well, it really boils down to a few core things that recruiters are specifically trained to look for. Let's dig into what those are. Okay, so campaigns basically look at excellence through three lenses. You can't just be good at one of these, you gotta have all three. A top-tier canvasser is a producer who delivers the numbers, a professional who is rock-solid reliable, and a teammate who actually makes the whole team better. All right, first up, the producer. This is all about the numbers, plain and simple. A pro doesn't just say, oh yeah, I knocked out a bunch of doors. No, they say, my average was 80 doors per shift, and I had a 20% contact rate. They speak in specifics. They can actually quantify their impact and show you a real track record of getting better over time. Next, you have to be a professional. And honestly, this one is just non-negotiable. It means showing up on time, every single time, ready to go. It means you're still hitting your numbers even when it's freezing cold and pouring rain. And this is huge. When something goes wrong, you own it. You look for a solution, not an excuse. And last but not least, you have to be a teammate. This means checking your ego at the door. The best canvassers are open to feedback. They want to be coached. They respect the chain of command. And if they've been around the block, they're actively helping the new folks get up to speed. They just get it. A rising tide lifts all boats. Okay, so now that we know what they're looking for, it makes sense that recruiters have this set of, let's call them no-fluff questions, to really vet people. So let's put ourselves in the hot seat for a minute and go through a few of these questions that really show whether someone is the real deal. Now this is a big one. Look, anyone who's done this for a while has a story about a tough door. But what the recruiter is really listening for is maturity. It's about emotional control. Did you stay calm? Did you de-escalate the situation? Or did you get into a shouting match? The answer tells them everything they need to know about how you handle pressure and protect the campaign's image. Okay, this one is basically a test, and there's only one right answer. Accuracy. Always. A true pro knows that bad data or a bunch of invalid signatures is actually worse than having nothing at all.
This question is designed to see if you're committed to doing things the right way, even when you're under the gun and trying to move fast.
This question gets right to the heart of personal accountability. An amateur blames the bad turf or says, oh, it was raining. A pro, they talk about what they did. They'll say, well, I realized I needed to change my pace, or I tweaked my opening line, or I took a 2-minute break to refocus. They analyze their own performance and make adjustments on the fly.
And of course, on the flip side, here are the big red flags. If your answers are super vague, if you start bad-mouthing a former manager, if you sound obsessed with shortcuts, or if you blame everyone else for your problems, those are the things that will get your application tossed right in the no pile, instantly.
All right, so knowing who to hire and who to avoid is a huge part of it, but it's only half the battle. Once a campaign actually finds these amazing pros, how do they get them out into the field? Let's take a look at a real-world mobilization plan to see how all the pieces fit together. So here we're looking at a plan for early 2026. And what you should notice is the scale, but also how specific it is. They've got deployments mapped out for Virginia Beach, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and a couple of spots in New York. And see that capacity column? That tells them exactly how many people they need to hire and get trained for each specific spot. And just look at that number. When you add up just this first wave, for only January and February, you're talking about 247 canvassers. This is no small-time operation, right? This takes some serious logistical muscle to pull off. Everything from recruiting and training to figuring out transportation and managing everyone in the field. So when you boil it all down, what does it really mean to be a professional canvasser in today's world? Well, it means you're a communicator who speaks in specifics, you own your numbers, you respect the rules, no exceptions, you handle tough conversations like an adult, and, deep down, you actually care about the mission and about the craft of doing this work well. And I want to end with this. It's one of the last questions they ask in the screening process, and it is a really powerful one. See, it's not just about your resume or what you've done in the past. It's about what you're going to do. It's basically asking you to define your own promise of excellence. And it kind of leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What do our actions in that first month, or any month, really prove about us?